At the end of the schedule development process, you will create something known as a baseline. There's a baseline schedule, baseline scope, and a baseline budget. The purpose of this is to announce to all stakeholders, including the sponsor and the client, that this is what is being agreed on going forward. And if any changes are requested, they must be formally requested through a formal change request and reviewed by the Change Control Board. But the baseline is the line in the sand against which the project team executes. In later courses, there will be more discussion about how the baseline is used in tracking progress, but here's an example from the text of a baseline in practice. See the title in figure 13-1 or 13.1, the baseline Gantt chart. Microsoft Project has this tool available that once a schedule is in place, you can set the baseline and then you can use that to update progress. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for setting the baseline. One is for reporting, because you can't say anything about progress to plan unless it's clear what the plan is. It's set in stone. That's what baseline means. So the baseline is put in place, it's signed off by all stakeholders, it's used for ongoing reporting of progress, and it's used as a basis to consider a change request. One of the biggest problems that project teams face is apparently small changes sneaking into the project schedule or project budget or project scope that were not properly considered. Setting the baseline helps avoid this because it just puts everyone on notice that nothing is going to be done that exceeds this baseline. It could be requested, it could be formally reviewed, it may be accepted or rejected. But for now, here is the baseline. And if major changes are approved, then a new baseline is in place. And this is used to support progress reporting throughout. Now, the tracking Gantt is just a simple form of project tracking. The schedule is in place, the baseline is set, progress is updated over time, and then you can examine the Gantt chart to see actual versus the baseline. And if they match, that's good. If not, then you can see you're ahead of schedule or behind schedule, whatever the case may be. So some principles that are important to remember for project reporting in the baseline. Number one, why set a baseline? You have to be clear about what it is that you're committing to in terms of schedule, scope, and budget. Number two, all must agree on this, your client, your sponsor, stakeholders, so there's no doubt in anyone's mind to what is being committed. Number three, once the baseline is in place, no informal changes are made. They're all formal. They're never approved automatically. They're requested and then evaluated. And then finally, without a baseline, there is no basis for reporting progress. Progress to plan is how ongoing project achievement metrics are reported. If the plan is not clear and if it's not set in stone, there's nothing to report against. For example, if changes sneak into the project and therefore scope increases and therefore the schedule is delayed or the budget increases, you could say, well, we didn't agree to do that originally. Well, if you didn't stop the presses and put these informal requests through a formal process and didn't reset the baseline, now you can't really communicate what you originally agreed to versus what you're doing right now. So the project team has no one to blame but themselves. So for project reporting, and as you come to the end of the project schedule development process, set the baseline, make sure everyone knows what it is, use it as the basis of reporting, and make it the line in the sand beyond which any change must proceed through a formal change control process.